What's up, everybody? Nutty Sports Gamer here. Welcome to episode 20 of the 40-year NBA Sim. And if you watched the previous video, you would know, and if you look at the screen, you'll know that the Celtics are up against the Lakers 3-0 in the NBA Finals, in the 1986 NBA Finals. And let's see here if the sweep is going to happen. It's looking like it's a 107-106 game with 148 left to go. So let's check out highlights here as Magic Johnson makes that bucket to put the Lakers up by 1. Larry Bird receives the pass right there, right under the basket, makes that bucket. 90 seconds left to go. The Lakers are trying not to get embarrassed. They know they probably won't win the finals, but there's no need for embarrassment. Kareem makes that shot, the baseline jumper. Lakers back up, but Parrish gets the dunk right there. So it's 111-110 Boston. Magic Johnson, tight defense on him, but he still gets the bucket to go. 112-111, 56 seconds left to go in the game as Sichting handles the ball. I wonder where Dennis Johnson is at this point. He is not out there. Interesting. Larry Bird receives the pass, and the Celtics are just trying to find their best shot as McHale. That wasn't the best shot they could make or attempt. And Jamal Wilkes is going to miss the shot in transition. So the Celtics once again have a chance to take the lead with this shot, whatever they decide to do here. McHale trying to figure things out, or Sichting, I should say. Parrish gets the rebound there and the putback, and it's 113-112. Let us see what the Lakers could do with the final possession of the game. Magic Johnson dribbling, turning around, sinks the potential game winner of Game 4 of the 86 Finals. McHale to Parrish. Ill-advised shot, but it's 2 seconds left, and that was the best pass I guess McHale could make, and the Lakers would go on to win, and the series goes 3-1. So the Lakers do not get swept. They take the series back to the Forum, where the Celtics are keeping it close, and I feel like the main takeaway is that the Lakers really can't dominate this team. Like, the Celtics are just right on their heels. Whenever the Lakers try to take a lead, the Celtics come right back with a vengeance, and it's been like that all series. Now, the Lakers did win this game 119-108. I wasn't expecting that, and it happened. So that's interesting. Maybe the Lakers could win. If the Lakers win this game in the Garden, and that would definitely be intriguing, but it's looking like the Celtics have a comfortable lead in the fourth quarter of Game 6 of the NBA Finals. So it's 107-99, 111-101, 12-point lead with 2 minutes left to go, 10-point lead, 12-point lead again. Yeah, it's looking like the Celtics are pretty much going to wrap things up. So let's take it towards the end of the game. 117-107, Boston with the inbounds pass. McHale with the inbounds pass to Dennis Johnson. And they're in a position where they can just dribble out and celebrate. Their teammates on the bench, they're jumping up, they're clapping, they're excited. The whole crowd is excited to see how things are going to go down. And McHale with the dunk. Driving down the lane, dunking it, really just no respect for the Lakers, which you would expect that because they're the storied rivals. And the Celtics would go on to win, what is this, their 16th championship? They win the 86 championship just like in real life. Of course, in the actual 86 finals, they beat the Rockets. Here they get to beat their rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers, in the 86 finals. This would have to be more satisfying, I would think, than beating the Rockets. And the Lakers still have not beaten the Celtics in the finals. At least not in this sim. Larry Bird is excited. likely the Finals MVP. He had 49 points in Game 3, which definitely did a number on the Lakers. Danny Ainge is pumping his fist. And this Celtics team, you know, they didn't always play like the iconic team that they're supposed to be, that they were advertised to be. The 86 Celtics, that is. But at the end of the day, they won the finals. They won the championship. And they could have swept the Lakers. I mean, they were up 3-0. And they took a 72-10 Lakers team to a woodshed and pulled the trigger. I mean, it really, despite the Lakers fighting back a little bit there in games 3 and 4, I mean, we knew what was going to happen. We knew who was going to win these finals as soon as as soon as the Celtics got that 3-0 lead, so that is looking like a good thumbnail for this video. Mikhail with the dunk. Maybe. I don't know, but I have a couple options, actually. There it is, though. The Celtics do win the championship, and Larry Bird is the Finals MVP. He averaged 29.8 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 7.8 assists. And that wraps up the 1986 season. But, we got some interesting things to take care of now that the offseason is upon us. Player retirements. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we're not going to let that happen. He's not going to retire. In real life, Kareem retires in 89. I don't know what I want to do about him. I'm thinking what I'm going to do with Kareem is what I have to do, I'm going to have to do this as we see other players retired. Because I want him to play until 89. That's when he played in real life. And I know the 2K is going to want to try and retire him early because players generally don't play till they're 40 or 41 or 42. But Kareem did, and I don't want him to retire just because 2K thinks he should retire. Just because the algorithm says he should retire. So what I think I'll do is export Kareem's DNA before we start the season next year for the 87 season. And then if he does retire, in which case I would not be able to bring him back naturally, I'll have to import his DNA and appearance to another player so that he's back. And I think I'll just make him a year older so that it reflects reality better. So that's my plan if Kareem does decide to retire, or if any other player decides to retire way too early. I'll do something like that. You saw the rules changes. I think it's just Bucks and Warriors are going to update their jerseys. So no other historical changes. I said rules changes. I mean historical changes. As far as rules changes, I am going to change this. Division winners will no longer automatically get the top 3 playoff seeds in each conference. That was rejected. I'm going to approve that. The reason why is because there's been this glitch where the 3 seed, 2 years in a row, we had the Clippers be the 3 seed in 85, and that was wrong. They shouldn't have been. And then we had the Jazz be the 3 seed, and that was wrong this season, this 86 season. So I'm hoping that changing this rule fixes that, but we'll see. Because my theory, and I said it in a previous video, my theory is that it's a glitch that's occurring because NBA 2K still thinks that there is 3 divisions in each conference where there's just 2 at this point in NBA history. So let's check out the draft lottery. The Dallas Mavericks end up with the 7th pick of the draft via Cleveland Cavaliers. The San Antonio Spurs, who tanked pretty hard, end up falling to 6th in the draft lottery. So I'm sure they're not too happy about that. The New Jersey Nets will not get the 5th pick. That'll go to the Phoenix Suns, which is rather interesting. Let's see who will get the 4th pick of the draft. And that's going to be the Golden State Warriors. So the Nets went from possibly having the 7th pick or the 6th pick to possibly being in the top 3. Well, they're definitely going to be in the top 3. Let's see where they land. As the Warriors are the 4th pick. The Nets will not get the 3rd pick. That's going to go to the Sacramento Kings. Let's check out who's going to get pick number 2. Who would it be? Oh, Pacers. Ooh, the Pacers. They had the 2nd pick last year. Let's see what happens here. There it is. The Pacers with the 2nd pick, which means that the Nets, the New Jersey Nets, are going to get the 1st pick. They have the pick of the litter between Len Bias, Sabonis, Dennis Rodman. So a lot of interesting choices, a lot of interesting avenues they can go down. And there's the draft lottery in full. You see the Warriors at the 10th pick and the 4th pick, so that's pretty interesting. Jazz, Pistons, Nuggets are with picks 11 to 13, of course. Cavaliers have the Clippers pick at 14. Suns have the Trailblazers pick at 15. Nuggets have the Mavericks pick at 21, and the Clippers have the Celtics pick at 23. So this should be. Let's see what happens. Let's just get right into the NBA draft, the 1986 NBA draft, and the New Jersey Nets are the 1st pick. Let's see who they select, and it's gonna be Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman goes to the Nets. Very interesting. Drazen Petrovic to the Indiana Pacers. So he's gonna play with Karl Malone. That's pretty cool. Arvydas Sabonis to the Sacramento Kings. I like that a lot. We'll talk about that later. Len Bias to the Warriors, which is very interesting. They're kind of like rebuilding. Phoenix Suns are going to get Brad Daugherty, who went to the Cleveland Cavaliers in real life. So we'll see if his back holds up. Dale Curry to the Spurs. Interesting. Father of Steph Curry. Kenny Walker to the Mavericks. He got drafted by the Knicks in real life. And the Mavericks just add more players, more great players to their team. Boston Celtics get Roy Tarpley. Atlanta Hawks get William Bedford, center out of Memphis. Golden State Warriors with another pick. A trade. I thought I turned off trades, but I guess I did not. Warriors are going to trade the 10th pick for Cliff Livingston and a 2nd round pick in this year's draft. I think that would be the Hawks. I think the Hawks had Livingston. It's not clear. The teams aren't clear. Yeah, so the Hawks are on the clock now. And they select Jeff Hornacek. Very nice. Good choice. Good choice. Chuck Person to the Jazz. Detroit Pistons are on the clock. Ron Harper playing alongside Isaiah Thomas. That is very interesting. Chris Washburn to the Denver Nuggets. Ron Harper, I was trying to figure out if Joe Dumars... Oh, Mark Price goes to the Cavaliers, just like in real life. Mark Price played for the Cavaliers. Mark Allery to the Phoenix Suns. I got more Ron Harper thoughts, but I want to finish this draft. Brad Sellers to the Bucks. Let's see who the Bulls get. Kevin Duckworth from Eastern Illinois. None of these are generics, I don't think. I don't think any of these are generics. I recognize some of these names. The Rockets are going to trade a 1st and a 2nd to the Warriors, who are going to pick Johnny Dawkins at a Duke point guard. The Sixers select Walter Berry. Who's up next? Washington Bullets get John Sally. John Sally, who was a big contributor to the Pistons, right? In real life, Buck Johnson to the Nuggets. John Sally, very interesting pick for the Bullets. Los Angeles Lakers are going to take Raphael Addison from Syracuse. Clippers get Johnny Newman. And that would be it for the 1st round. So now I can talk about Ron Harper. Yeah, so Joe Dumars, if you've been following along, Joe Dumars is a Dallas Maverick. And I had been thinking that the Dallas Mavericks are too loaded, right? They have Rolando Blackman. They got Derek Harper, Charles Barkley, Mark Aguirre, and then Joe Dumars. And something's got to give there, I think. But if Ron Harper gets drafted by the Pistons, they might not have a need for Joe Dumars. Because Ron Harper is an elite defender. He was a great player. Even before he was a Bull, everyone knows him for being on the Bulls, Michael Jordan in the mid to late 90s when they won those championships. But Ron Harper is a great player in his own right. And so that could be a very interesting backcourt. And they may not need Joe Dumars after all. So that's very interesting development. Very interesting development. Arvydas Sabonis is another interesting development. This changes things for the Kings. I mean, they had a couple of power forwards and centers on their roster, but Sabonis is a potential franchise-changing player, and potentially, anyway, as you see his ratings there. But I'm expecting big things out of Sabonis because we never got to see him play in his prime in real life, and we will get to see that here. Same thing with Len Bias, of course. We obviously, that's going to be a bit rough, I would say, because of how things happen in his life in real life. But I guess it's bittersweet. I would say it's bittersweet to see Len Bias in the game, and it'll be interesting to see how things go for him. Drazen Petrovic, also kind of bittersweet, although he had played a couple of years before his untimely passing, and we're going to be able to see his full career play out. So it's a very interesting what-if draft, and Petrovic specifically on the Pacers with Karl Malone and Reggie Theus, that could be a very interesting team quickly. Dennis Rodman to the Nets, that is also interesting in that because Rodman is not going to be on the Bad Boys Pistons, a great team, an established playoff team, it'll be interesting to see how Rodman responds to being on what might be a bad Nets team. And how does he grow from there? So I am curious to see how Rodman looks with the Nets. Brad Daugherty, as far as as I recall, he was a good player but got injured often. So maybe he can be an anchor for the Suns, not have to worry about back injuries as much in the game as he did in real life. Del Curry to the Spurs, great shooter, so he'll be a nice role player for them. Roy Tarpley to the Celtics as opposed to Len Bias. William Bedford. The Hawks have a bit of a thin big man rotation, and getting Bedford and Hornacek is a pretty nice. I don't know. Hornacek is a 73 overall rating now, but in a year or two, he's definitely gonna shine. He's a great shooter and all that. Ron Harper, as I just talked about, he's already a 78 overall rating, so I think he's probably going to start his rookie season alongside Isaiah Thomas. And he's an A-plus defender. He's an A-plus defender, perimeter defense. And so, yeah, maybe the Pistons can still end up being a championship-type team. He's an A in mid-range scoring, B-plus playmaking, A-plus perimeter D. So he's definitely going to be a great addition to this team. And yeah, I kind of want to just see how Ron Harper and Isaiah Thomas work as a backcourt, as opposed to trying to find a way to get Joe Dumars on the Pistons. Maybe he stays in the Mavericks after all. And then Mark Price to the Cavs, which is really cool. And maybe we can actually build the Cavaliers somewhat close to what they were in real life in the late 80s and early 90s. They were a pretty good team that made the playoffs several years in a row, and had those famous matchups with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. So that is it for the draft. As if you want to see what these players look like in the context of the teams, I forgot. Oh, Nate McMillan, who is a coach for the Hawks right now, is on the Philadelphia 76ers. So he was picked in the second round. That's really interesting. And Walter Berry, you see here at power forward. I don't know where he's going to fit in the rotation for the Sixers, but and also this is just FYI. These are just the rosters immediately after the draft. A lot of changes are going to be made to these teams because in real life, a lot of changes. The 87 or the 1986 offseason was nuts, absolutely nuts in the NBA, and I'll get into it as best I can. Maybe a little bit in this video. We'll see. as we see Brad Stillers in the Bucks. Do we take a look at John Sally? John Sally on the Bullets, and yeah, that's gonna be he's gonna be a good role player for them. Who did the Bulls get again? Did the Bulls have a draft pick this season? I can't remember. But oh yeah, Duckworth. That's right, Kevin Duckworth. But what's going to be interesting for the Bulls is George Gervin and Michael Jordan possibly playing for a year or two. Mark Price on the Cavs. I would think he's going to be coming off the bench year one, and then hopefully he progresses fast enough to become the starter starting in year two. And they also got Scott Skiles in round two, I believe. So the Cavs, yeah, I mean, they got Roy Hinton as well, who's only 25. So they're kind of a middling team, but if Mark Price develops, they could be good really fast. The Celtics are the Celtics. The Clippers, I forget who they picked, but they're also an interesting team moving forward. They got some decisions to make in regards to some players. Norm Nixon is a free agent, for example. Terry Porter's on the Clippers. You know, are they patient enough to wait for Sam Bowie and Perkins and Porter to develop, or do they want to try a win now philosophy and try to get a star player? Because the Lakers are the ones making all the noise in Los Angeles, and the Clippers are the Clippers. Even though they made the playoffs, in '86 and in '85, but obviously the Lakers are the darlings of Los Angeles. So, and I wonder if I start to get into it here, but there was a pretty big move in real life in 1986, and it happened with the 76ers. The 76ers, in real life, traded Moses Malone to the Washington Bullets for Jeff Ruland and Cliff Robinson. Now, if you're watching these videos, you've seen Ruland and Robinson, you know what they're all about, at least in this sim. You know what Moses Malone is all about. He's a great player, as we see Jeff Hornacek in the context of the Hawks and his team, and William Bedford on the Hawks. Hopefully they're a much better team than they were in the previous season. But yeah, Moses Malone got traded to the Washington Bullets in real life, and Adrian Dantley got traded from the Jazz to the Pistons this season too. There's was quite a few big moves for the NBA in the actual '86 offseason. As we take a look at the Kings, who now have Alvin Robertson, Chris Mullin, and Arvydas Sabonis, LaSalle Thompson, Larry Drew, Mike Woodson. All these guys might not be on the team in the upcoming season, but Sabonis, Robertson, and Chris Mullin is interesting big three, potential big three for the Kings. They could be a perennial playoff team soon if those guys develop like they should. And Otis Thorpe, Kevin Willis, Craig Elo, who contributed to the Cavaliers in real life and is a great player in his own right. So yeah, they got a lot of interesting pieces. Of course, they're a very young team, so it's going to take a while for them to really get things going. I thought they were interesting when they just had Robertson and Chris Mullin. Now they have Arvydas Sabonis. We are definitely going to jump into a lot of Sacramento Kings games in the '87 season, especially towards the beginning of the season. We'll see how their record plays out over the course of things. But yeah, I mean, I want to see Arvydas Sabonis as much as possible. And I would think that anyone watching this would also be curious to see rookie Sabonis and the Sacramento Kings playing with Chris Mullin and Alvin Robertson. That is just going to be delicious. I am excited about that. Really, really excited. As I guess I switched. I wanted to see if Craig Elo's rating was better as a point guard as opposed to a shooting guard, because Larry Drew in real life, he gets traded to the Clippers from the Kings, and so I got a lot of decisions to make. I got to figure out if the trades that happen in real life would still happen, and or do I go in a different direction with some of these moves? So that's something I definitely have to think about, like, for instance, Jamal Wilkes wasn't on the Lakers in real life in '86. I decided to keep him for another year because he was going to be a free agent in '85. Oh no, he was a free agent in '85 in real life, but in this game he still had another year left in his contract. And my worry was if I released him, maybe nobody would. There was a chance nobody would have picked him up because no one has any salary cap space. But so I kept him in the Lakers for one more year. But now he's a free agent, and now we're gonna have to see if anyone picks him up or if there's a sign and trade situation that might happen. And Dennis Rodman, he's wearing number 33. You might ask yourself why. Because he was number 10 on the Pistons. Otis Birdsong's number 10 on the Nets. So I kind of understand. I mean, you kind of have to respect that. Birdsong is a legend in the sim. He had a couple of... I guess I shouldn't say legend, but he's just such a great, fun player to watch. Every time we jump into a Nets game, he's always making those mid-range jumpers from the elbow. And so, yeah. I can't let Rodman take number 10 for Birdsong. I just can't. Can't do it. Chris Washburn on the Nuggets. The Nuggets are an interesting team, but they're not drafting great. Javon Cage and Washburn. The Nuggets. There's Petrovic. Petrovic with the Pacers. They're a team that could be interesting soon. I don't know about this year, but if Petrovic develops like he should, and you pair him with Karl Malone, and they got Theus already. They got Quentin Daly. Right, Quentin Daly? I can't remember how first name is spelled, actually. But, yeah, they're a team that can be interesting soon. And then you got the Pistons, who might not be exactly the bad boy Pistons that we know in real life, but they could be that in some form, with Ron Harper as their shooting guard and Isaiah Thomas as their point guard. They're both A+ in perimeter D, so that's a tough backcourt to deal with defensively. And then I don't see a reason why they wouldn't trade Tripucka for Adrian Dantley. They want that. They need that extra scorer. So I do believe I will make that trade because I think the Pistons were 43-39 in this season in the sim. So they definitely need the help. They're definitely going to look a bit different. Obviously, Len Bias and Isaiah Thomas are who they are, and Rick Mahorn is going to still be the starting four, I believe. But everything else is up in the air as far as like how they're going to look, how Ron Harper and Adrian Dantley are going to fit in with the team in the sim is going to be interesting to see. And we'll see how things go as far as getting Dantley on the Pistons. That'll be the next video. The next video, I'm going to get into more of the offseason moves and highlights of early November. So that's going to be the next video. And yeah, so yeah, I think my plan is I think I'm going to do something a little bit differently for the next video. I think what I'm going to do is after I make all the offseason moves that need to be made, before I jump into a game, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail of each team's rosters and what roster moves were made during the offseason. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to watch games. We're going to watch games with these new teams and their rosters and see how things play out from there. So I hope that makes sense. But I think I do... What do I do here? I can't remember what I was looking for at this point. But here's the standings from the previous season. And yeah, I guess, yeah. The 76ers, here's the thing with this. Okay, so 76ers, in real life, in the 86 playoffs, they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks in round 2. In this sim, the 1986 playoffs, the Sixers lost to the Bucks in round 2. The exact same thing happened. Which makes me wonder if they would still trade Moses Malone If the same result occurred in the 86 season, wouldn't they still do the same move? Now, here's one thing that I don't think would happen. I don't think the Bullets would trade Jeff Ruland and Cliff Robinson to the 76ers. Now, the deal that the 76ers made in real life, they traded Moses Malone and 2 first-round picks for Cliff Robinson and Jeff Ruland. Now, I was going through this in my head, and I said to myself, that's a deal that the Bullets would have to take because just of how insane that is. You're going to get a perennial all-star, an MVP caliber player who's 31. He's 31 years old, but still he's an NBA champion, perennial all-star, and he's still playing elite, right? His numbers went down a little bit, but not that much. And so you're going to get him and 2 first-round picks. They would have to take that deal. Now, I think the difference is now in the sim, the Bullets won over 60 games. So I don't think the Sixers would want to trade Moses Malone to a 60-win team because you're basically giving them an easy ride or an easier ride to the finals. And the reason why they wanted Jeff Ruland and Cliff Robinson was because they wanted to stay competitive. They wanted to get younger. They saw that they hit their ceiling with a 31-year-old Malone and however old Julius Erving is at this point. He's in his mid-30s. They felt they hit a ceiling with this squad. And in real life, they had Charles Barkley, an up-and-coming player, I should say. But they don't have Barkley in this sim, right? They have Andrew Toney still, who, unlike in real life, he's still healthy and thriving, and he's becoming a star player for the Sixers in this sim. They still got Mo Cheeks. They got Bobby Jones, who retired in real life, but he's still on the team. They got Michael Cage instead of Charles Barkley. So my thinking is they're not going to trade Moses Malone to the Bullets, right? They still want to be a good competitive team because they got Tony and Mo Cheeks and an aging Julius Erving, who's 36 years old right now. So, but they probably still trade Moses Malone because they did lose to the Bucks last season. So they know there's a ceiling with Moses Malone on this team. And so I decided, yes, they'll make a trade, but it's not going to be Jeff Ruland and Cliff Robinson. Why? Because, like I just said, you're basically giving an Eastern Conference rival an easier road to the finals. So that can't happen. There's just no way that would happen. In the real life, the Bullets were like a middling team in '86, right? I think they won like 40 games, not 60. So this isn't a middling Bullets team anymore. This is a team that took the Boston Celtics to 7 games, right? So it's not a middling Bullets team, and there's no way they would give up 2 draft picks and Moses Malone to the Bullets. My thinking is, in real life, Moses Malone must have had more injuries, more nagging injuries than he would have in this sim. So my thinking is, there's no way the Sixers would be the ones giving up draft picks at this point in this sim. There's no way they'd be giving up draft picks for Moses Malone to trade Moses Malone. They're not gonna. There's no dumping that they have to do, right? That's like a salary dump. When you have to attach 2 first-round picks to a player in order to trade them, that's like that's like a salary dump. Now, and even though they got Jeff Ruland and Cliff Robinson in the deal, I still think that's a salary dump type move. But what I ended up doing, so let me just skip ahead. Moses Malone will get traded from the Philadelphia 76ers. But I instead decided he would get traded to the Los Angeles Clippers for Sam Perkins and Sam Bowie. And at first, I just had 1 Clippers first-round pick in the deal. Later on, I modified this and made it 2 first-round picks because I felt like Bowie and Perkins are still kind of projects at this point. They're not established great young players, but they have potential. to be that. But I still think that and a first round pick isn't enough to get a player with the caliber that Moses Malone has. And I think the Clippers are in desperation mode. They want to be the top dog in Los Angeles. They want to be the team that Los Angelinos care about. I mean, maybe they won't be the number one basketball team in the city ever, but maybe they can still be a solid number two, as opposed to just being bottom of the barrel. So I think this is what they would do. I think they would trade for Moses Malone and get a star on the Clippers to pair with Marquez Johnson, to pair with Norm Nixon, who they're going to re-sign, and try to make the Clippers a real serious playoff contender. So that's what I decided. I went through all the other teams, and I was like, who else would make a deal like this? Who else has like a center power forward duo that would strike the 76ers fancy? And I decided that the only team where this really works, the only team this works with, is the Clippers. For the reasons I just said, and for the players they have. Bowie and Perkins, it's kind of perfect. I keep going from Sam Bowie to Sam Bowie. Bowie and Perkins is kind of perfect because they're two young front court pieces, and you pair those two with 2 first-round picks, which is what the deal ends up being. I think that's a deal that the Sixers would take, and I still think that they would trade Moses Malone because he's getting older, Dr. J's getting older, and so I made the deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal in this sim. The Sixers that we know are going to be completely different, and they have a young Perkins now, a young Bowie. They're transitioning to a younger team, and they got a 28-year-old Andrew Toney, who's now their best player, and they're going to be more perimeter based. The offense ran through Moses Malone and Dr. J for as long as we saw them, but now they're going to be different. And now, as you see here, the Clippers are going to be fun. They're going to be very interesting to watch now because they have Moses Malone, they have Marquez Johnson, they have Bridgman and Maxwell. In real life, Maxwell got traded to the Rockets during the '87 season, so he might not remain on the Clippers for very long. But the Clippers definitely have a chance to make some real noise in the Western Conference. I don't know if they're a finals caliber team, but they still could be a serious playoff contender. So I think this is interesting. I like this move. I was definitely unsure about it, but I like the move to make this deal because it's definitely going to change things for the sim, for the '87 season and beyond. The Sixers are going to be dramatically different. The Clippers are going to be dramatically different. We know the Los Angeles Clippers for the longest time were the lowest of the low, right? They were the laughing stock of the NBA for a long time. And so far in this sim, they haven't been that, right? They've been a much better team, and this might not be the wisest move long term to get Moses Malone, but I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense for the Clippers to be star hunting. They want their team to be a team of stars, right? To have to be a veteran team, a playoff team, and I think they realize the best way to compete against the Mavericks and the Lakers is by acquiring a star player like Moses Malone, who the Sixers were starting to shop around. So that is the big trade in this video, in this episode. I don't make any big trades in this video, but you will see what I do in the next video. You'll see all the trades I made. We just saw the Bucks for a second there. The Milwaukee Bucks in real life traded for Jack Sigma. Jack Sigma from the Supersonics. So there's a lot of interesting trades to happen in the actual 87 season, and I'm going to try to replicate most of them and then add some unique trades here and there that tickle my fancy. You know, I'm a little bit ahead of you guys. I've already made the moves. They're not in this video, but just want to give you a little tease. It's gonna be a lot of differences. Some of the top teams are still pretty much going to be the same, but you'll see. You'll see in the next video as we start the 87 season. The NBA, maybe the Celtics and Lakers are still the top of the heap, but you know, there's going to be a lot of other interesting teams to follow. Let's just leave it at that. And we still got those other teams like the Pacers, like the Kings, who have interesting young cores now. And yeah, so things are definitely getting very interesting for the sim, and I hope you're enjoying watching this. And although I'm getting a bit rambly for this particular part of this episode, but other than that, I hope you're enjoying the series. I hope you enjoy your life. I hope you enjoyed Thanksgiving, if you celebrate Thanksgiving. And Roy Hinson, one other thing is Roy Hinson of the Cavaliers in real life got traded to the 76ers. But that's a trade I don't think I'm going to do, because the reason why Hinson was traded to the Sixers is because the Sixers got the number 1 pick in the 86 draft. And the Cavs wanted to take Brad Daugherty. So they traded Roy Hinson to the 76ers to get the number 1 pick, I think. I don't know if it happened on draft day, but that's definitely what the deal that went down. Because the Cavaliers did end up getting Brad Daugherty in real life, and Hinson went to the Sixers. So I toyed with this, but I didn't end up doing it because I don't think that happens now. The Sixers didn't have the number 1 draft pick. And Brad Daugherty went to the Suns. And I don't think the Suns would trade Brad Daugherty because they're a rebuilding team and they need him. They need him as part of the rebuild. So I think the Cavaliers are kind of stuck with Roy Hinson. And Roy Hinson's kind of stuck with them. But, yeah. So, again, there's scenarios like these all over where it's like, do I make this deal? Do I not make this deal? And I will go through it in more detail in the next video. So I hope you look forward to that. I hope you're looking forward to the 87 season. We're going to be seeing a lot of Sabonis, a lot of Petrovic, Ron Harper and Isaiah Thomas backcourt for the Pistons. There's so much to look at, so much to look forward to. I hope that you are looking forward to those videos, the 87 season videos. And I hope you've subscribed and you haven't subscribed now, because this series is getting really good and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, goodbye, and see you in a little bit.